Today, I want to talk to you about what feminine energy is, what it truly means to operate in your feminine. This is something that I get asked about all the time. What does it mean to have feminine energy? What does it mean to embody feminine energy? And why is it so important? So, I want to start by saying that when we are talking about feminine energy and masculine energy, we are not just talking about stereotypical what it means to be a man or a woman, what it means to be a boy or a girl. Both men and women have feminine energy, just like both men and women have masculine energy. Just think about biology. Men and women have, both of us have estrogen. Both men and women have testosterone, which is testosterone is typically associated with male, estrogen is typically associated with female. But it is the levels to which we have them are different. So men and women both have estrogen, but women have way more estrogen than men do. Men and women both have testosterone, but men have way more testosterone than women do. So it is the same with these energies. We both have masculine and feminine energy, but if you are female, you are going to operate a little bit more in your feminine energy. If you're male, you're going to operate a little bit more in your masculine energy. And it's about a balance between the two of these things. So I will talk about masculine energy a little bit more in the future because if most of the people who follow me are women, so I'm talking to women here, but I do know that there are men in my audience. But if you're a woman, um, it is important that you also understand your masculine energy and how it works because you have that too. And there are times where it is appropriate to act a little bit more in your masculine. But today, let's get back into feminine energy. So, this is what feminine energy is. Feminine energy is all about nurture, it is all about fluidity, it is about creativity. Feminine energy is about faith, empathy, imagination, inspiration. Feminine energy is more artistic. It is a mothering energy. And these things are important things. These things are also not weak. One of the most common misconceptions that I hear about feminine energy is that if you are operating in your feminine, you are weak, soft. And first of all, soft is not necessarily a bad thing. Second, feminine energy is incredibly powerful. Remember, as women, we are creators. As women, we are the ones who give birth to things. We literally created this planet as far as all of the people on it. Every person on this planet has come out of a woman. Um, we are that we are that creative force that makes things happen. So there's nothing at all weak about feminine energy. It is incredibly powerful, especially once you learn how to operate in it. So I want to talk about what it looks like to have too much feminine energy and too little feminine energy. Because again, the thing here is about balance. So when you are not operating in as much feminine energy as you should, when your balance is off and is tilted towards the masculine, and you have too much masculine energy, not enough, you're deficient in your feminine energy, what that looks like is you are emotionally unavailable, you lack creativity, you can't adjust to change, so you have a hard time adapting to things. You'll also find that your creativity is blocked. So if your creativity is blocked, you may have issues with coming up with new ideas for a work project, or you're normally the type who's very artistic, but you're just not feeling it right now. And you also have a hard time expressing your needs and adapting to change. So this is what it looks like when you lack in feminine energy, because again, feminine energy is all about fluidity, creativity, nurturing. So if you find yourself feeling very rigid, if you find yourself feeling very blocked, very stuck, these are some signs that you do not have your feminine energy in balance. Now, if you are operating too much into your feminine energy, then how that is going to look is, remember, feminine energy is all about nurture. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're operating too much in your feminine, then you become more along the lines of too much of a mother. And what I mean by being too much of a mother is that you start to put other people's problems as your responsibility. You take on too much of what other people are going through, feeling like you're the one who always has to fix it, when that is not true. It's not your job to fix other people. It's not your job to raise anyone who is not your child. you know, if you are operating too much in your feminine energy, you are overly forgiving. So people do things to, people do things where they cross your boundaries, where they upset you, where they are mistreating you. And although forgiveness is important, you have found yourself in a position of being too forgiving. So if you are operating too much in your feminine energy, you also, because feminine energy is about going with the flow and being present, you may find yourself with a lack of motivation. So you stop pushing yourself. Your ambition is a little bit lacking. You stop setting new goals. You also become overly dependent on other people and develop relationships that are codependent. So, check yourself on both of those to see if any of those things that I just said fit you, and whether or not you may be operating in too little feminine or too much feminine. But also, here's how feminine energy looks when it comes to dating and relationships. So when we're talking about embracing your feminine energy in dating, I am not talking about being girly. I'm not talking about, having to wear pink and frills and lace and having to, raise your voice and things like that. I mean, those are flirting techniques, and those, I'm not saying that those things aren't valid, but what we're talking about when we talk about true feminine energy and what the essence of that looks like, feminine energy in dating looks like being present, being in the moment. One of the biggest mistakes that I see women make when it comes to going out on dates is that they go on dates and they audition for a role. Does he like me? Maybe if I talk like this, if I dress like this, he'll like me more. Oh my goodness, we're going to a restaurant, so I don't want to eat spaghetti because that is going to be messy, and then he's going to think a certain type of way about me because, I'm eating such messy food and things like that. That is not feminine energy. Feminine energy is about being present and enjoying the moment. And it is a recognition that if we're talking about dating, if we're talking about any relationship in general, you're not auditioning for other people. Your job is to find out whether or not someone serves your life, your purpose, whether or not they're in alignment with you, not the other way around. Feminine energy looks like allowing things to happen and also allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Now, when I say vulnerable, I am not talking about word vomiting the first things that come out of your mouth. When I talk about being vulnerable, it is about allowing, though, for moments to happen where you can reveal a little bit about yourself, where you can show someone who you truly are and what your essence is. And of course, the more you get to know someone, the more vulnerable you can be. But you can have those intimate moments even on a first date. Feminine energy is about creating invitations. So I get this question a lot, whether or not it is okay for a woman to ask a man out. If it is okay for a woman to try to force a relationship along, things like that. And the way I always respond to this is that when you're operating in your feminine, you invite people into deeper levels of relationship with you. So even when you haven't already met someone yet, what this can look like is you're not out here chasing a man, but of course you can go up to a man and start a conversation. Of course you can give someone a look that lets them know that you're open to conversation, or a smile that lets them know that you're open to conversation, you're receptive to meeting people. you can, introduce yourself and see where things go from there. Feminine energy is about inviting, inviting someone into your presence, inviting someone into getting to know you. But feminine energy is also about not trying to control outcomes. And this is where a lot of that gets tangled. There's a difference between inviting someone to get to know you and chasing someone or trying to force a relationship. There's a huge difference between, you know, allowing someone to know that you're open to conversation and, trying to push it and trying to make them talk to you. So again, when you're talking about feminine energy, it is in that, smiling. It is in that giving someone a look. It is in being friendly and in being approachable. Feminine energy is about understanding that once you have put yourself out there, you can't control what happens next. So, oftentimes women come to me and they say something along the lines of, I want to work with you because I'm sick and tired of dating. I'm sick and tired of being out here. And I hate to say it, but that is absolutely the wrong attitude to have. Because if you are serious about wanting a relationship, you have to fall in love with dating. You have to fall in love with the process. And what I mean by that is, of course, you don't want to be out here dating forever, and it going nowhere. But at the same time, you have to understand that part of this process of meeting the right person is meeting people in general, is having conversations in general. And you have to learn how to fall in love with that opportunity to get to know new people, to get to know someone who is fascinating, even if that person doesn't turn out to be your forever person. Just because someone is not your soulmate doesn't mean that they have absolutely no use to you. And that is part of learning how to date with confidence. Learning how to make dating fun is understanding that if you're present, if you allow yourself to enjoy time with a person, if you allow yourself to enjoy getting to know someone, you're moving ever closer to that right person. You are moving ever closer to understanding what it is that you want in a relationship. Sometimes the best relationships are those that teach us what it is that we don't want, what it is that we need to work on within ourselves, what it is that we need to set better boundaries around the next time. So feminine energy is about learning how to enjoy the process and learning how to, take the lessons that you need from something. Feminine energy in dating and relationships is all about painting a picture. So, in heterosexual relationships, we're talking about a case where, a woman is dating a man. In that context, for a straight man, one of the things that he is looking for in a relationship as he's dating, as he's evaluating women, is he wants to be able to understand what life really looks like with that woman, what a future with her looks like. So feminine energy is about being able to paint that picture and being able to show. It's not so much of that whole BS about what is it that you bring to the table. I absolutely hate that phrase. But it is more along the lines of when you are dating someone, being able to let them see that, okay, if life with me looks like this constant adventure because I love to travel and because I love to take road trips and I'm into exploring new things and finding new things, or life with me looks like the type of woman I am is a very kind of calming presence and nurturing presence, and this is how I show that. Being able to clearly communicate what you are like in your authenticity and how you operate. I do not want to say how valuable you are, because you are valuable no matter what. But showing what a future with you looks like because of how you operate, and allowing both for the man to decide that that is what he wants as well, and that he wants to be with you, and for you to also be empowered and to know that because this is who I am and this is how I operate, this man is not right for me. You know, being able to empower both yourself and the other person to make the right decisions in a relationship, and being able to be okay with that, understanding that just because this person isn't right for you, that means that, when you end the relationship, you're making room for the person who is right for you, coming from that place, not looking at things as a failed relationship. And operating in your feminine energy in a relationship looks like playful energy. It looks like being curious, and it looks like exploring. So, back to what I was just saying, when you operate in your feminine energy, it is more about allowing things to go where they need to go, and, understanding that in everything, there is something to be gained from any relationship, any connection that you meet with a person. So, you don't have to be so rigid about, you know, marriage or bust, that this relationship has to be the right relationship. So, this is feminine energy. Again, feminine energy is about nurture, creativity. It is about imagination. It is about finding inspiration. And it is about having faith and trusting the process. You know, it is not about holding on so tightly to making sure that things go perfect. It is not about being so concerned about whether or not other people want you, because instead of auditioning for other people, you're looking at whether or not this person serves your life, this person is aligned with your values. And it is about knowing that you are valuable, knowing that you are worthy, and understanding that because you are valuable and that you are worthy, that every outcome always works in your favor. So